Hello and welcome to the What's Good with Gil and Larry podcast. I am Gil and Larry. That is Mr. LL himself, Larry Loper. And once again, we have the privilege of having my friend, my classmate, B-Rad, a.k.a. Brad Ryers. How are you, buddy? Thanks for coming back to the show.
Been better, a little annoyed right now, but
Well, let's not waste too much time. We all know why you're here. Let's do that hockey. We know the final four teams. We got the Rangers and Capitals on the East, Oilers and Stars on the West. Brad, how did we get here? Let's get into your team, America's team, the New York Rangers. How did the Rangers get here? How did the Capitals get here?
No, the Panthers.
Panthers.
Yeah. Excuse me. Yes, I have Carolina Capitals written down like a dope.
Don't worry.
Sorry.
You're good. No, they swept the Capitals in the first round, and then they won an exciting 6-game series against the Canes in the second round. They had a 3-0 lead. The Canes won 2 games and gave the Rangers a bit of a scare, and then they Rangers were trailing in Game 6, 3-1, and had an epic comeback in the third period to win the game. Right now, they trail the Panthers 1-0 in Game 1. I like the Rangers in 7. If you want my opinion as to the series, one thing about the Rangers that's very impressive is their ability to come back in games, especially in the third period. They've done it all year, and I'm confident they'll find a way to do it again. They've had plenty of opportunities. They just have to score. They just have to finish. They've had two breakaways. They hit the post on one, and Bobrovsky made a great save on the other one. So we'll see what happens. Florida's a good team, so Rangers better not get behind too far because they're a very tough team to score against.
The Rangers kind of
teams in the league.
It felt like the Rangers were in a league of their own until they were up like 3-0 against the Hurricanes. And the Hurricanes sort of kind of made a series out of it late. Do you think the Rangers just kind of got tired and a little bored, or is it as the competition increases and they become a little more desperate? I mean, as it is right now, they're losing Game 1. We know, we were watching the playoffs all year. You could be up 3 goals after 2 periods and still lose. So, do you think the Rangers are just kind of shadow boxing and feeling out the Panthers, or do you think the Panthers are that good that the Rangers better be on their P's and Q's?
The Rangers better be on their P's and Q's because the Panthers are a very good team. They've got everything needed to win a Stanley Cup, just like the Rangers do. I think the Rangers have an advantage on the top 6 and in goaltending. I think the defense is pretty even. Bottom 6, I think Carolina's got a slightly better bottom 6. I think this series is going to be all about penalty killing and the power play. If the Rangers can beat up Florida the way they beat up the Hurricanes and the way they beat up the Capitals on special teams, they'll win the series. If they're not effective on their power play and they can't stop Florida's power play, then they're going to lose, because 5-on-5, I think, is going to be very, very close. Florida might have a slight edge 5-on-5 against them. But the Rangers, it's the same thing with the Canes. The Rangers had a big advantage on special teams. They were outscored 5-on-5 against them. But, the power play, they killed them. And the penalty killing, the Canes, I believe, were like 2 for 30 or something like that, or 2 for 25. And the Rangers had 2 shorthanded goals. So all the power plays the Canes had, it was 2-2. You're not gonna win a playoff series when you can't outscore the other team on your power play.
Yeah,
it's hard to believe that a Cane team that's that good could do that, but hey, it happened. So we'll see what happens here.
What did it take for the Panthers to get here to be in this Eastern Conference? What are the things to look out for with them? Is it the goaltending? What is it? What can they? What's their staple that got them here to win these first 2 series?
They're great defensively, and they got a couple of guys who can really put the puck in the net, and they hit and they can score. They didn't score quite as much as the Rangers did, but they gave up less goals than the Rangers. And they have a very good power play as well, Florida. So when Florida's big and they try to push teams around, they were able to. I think with Tampa Bay, whom they beat in 5, I think that was a case where Florida's just faster, younger, and stronger than Tampa Bay. I think Tampa Bay is old.
Yeah.
The trade they made today didn't make a lot of sense to me, but okay, they wanted to get Ryan McDonough back. Now they have only $4 million left on their salary cap. So unless they can move somebody, or somebody's willing to take a player for money only, they're going to have a hard time re-signing Stamkos. So I don't quite understand what the logic was in that. But okay, you want a 34-year-old defenseman.
Yeah.
Ryan McDonough is still pretty good, but he was slow. He was slow when the Rangers traded him. So, and he hasn't gotten any faster. That was 6-7 years ago. So I'm not sure I totally understood that one.
Well, maybe they've already moved on from Stamkos. Maybe they've already put it in the plans that they don't need the, accolade.
From what I've heard, they've been talking a lot. Stamkos is considering taking a hometown discount. And don't forget one thing that is very crucial. Tampa Bay plays in a tax-free state.
Mm-hmm.
Florida. Yeah.
So he can take less money and make the same amount of money as if he took, say, a $8 million contract. Okay,
right.
in New York. Okay, he could take a $6 million contract in Tampa and probably make maybe more money. Take home pay.
Right.
So there's that as well. So.
How are they at net? I know they got the Bob as their goaltender. He's bounced around the league now for over a decade.
He's been fantastic this year, and he's been fantastic in the playoffs.
Oh,
so he's not. He can win a series by himself. There's no question about that. I think Igor is a little bit better than him, though. Igor Shesterkin, who's the Rangers goalie.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that you won't see from Bobrovsky is you're not going to see him giving up bad goals the way Frederick Anderson did for the Canes. Yeah. That's not going to happen. So, they're going to have to earn whatever they get. And they're going to have to go to the net and
pressure.
Yeah, they're going to have to forecheck, and they're going to have to take advantage of when they get power plays. Now right now the Rangers are pressing like crazy. They're getting guys in front of the net, and the Rangers can beat this team, but they're going to have to play their best hockey, and they can't have lapses defensively.
That's the truth.
Because this team will burn you, Florida.
Now my question, Brad, is this the two teams you had making it to the finals in the East?
No, I thought the Rangers were going to end up playing Boston.
That's what me and Gil thought. We said, man, that'd have been a great thing to see Boston and New York go at it. Just like on the NBA side, we thought it'd been cool to see that. Obviously, that didn't happen either which way. Do you think that Boston was the better team, or just that Florida actually was a better team? We were just hoping to see a Boston and Rangers matchup just for because
I went by two factors. The fact that Boston lost last year in the first round of the playoffs in Florida, and they had that big choke after having a 3-1 lead, and the fact that Boston handled them so easily during the season. So I should have known better, not to worry about what happens in the regular season, because the regular season doesn't really tell the story. I mean, the Rangers and Capitals, split the 4-game series during the season, and the Rangers beat the Capitals so easily it was almost embarrassing how easily they won that series.
I agree.
Really, there was only one game that was close. The other games, the Rangers were in complete control.
It was pure dominance. Pure dominance.
They were not dominant against the Canes, though. I mean, they won two of those games.
Yeah,
they hung on for dear life. They won game 2 in double overtime.
Which was
you're right.
Game.
Yeah, that first game was a great game.
Good.
Great game. When I say the first two games, great.
The second game was double overtime.
Mm-hmm.
And then game 3, I mean, they won that game in overtime as well. But they had the lead and they blew it in the last minute. They gave up a goal 6-on-5 again. which they've done a couple of times in that series. So we'll see what happens here. It looks like Florida is going to be going on another power play, so we'll have to watch out for that and see if the Rangers can kill another one. I mean, they did kill off the Florida penalty in the first period, so Florida's 0 for 1 right now. The Rangers, I don't think the Rangers have had a power play, have they? I haven't noticed that they did yet. So they're going to have to draw some penalties and try to get some more pressure on the net. And certainly they don't want to go down 2-0 here.
No.
This is an incredibly big kill for them.
Yeah. So you're picking Rangers in 7 right now today?
Rangers in 7, yes.
That's a good one.
I don't think the Rangers, I don't care what the score is right now. I don't care if they lose game 1. I know they can win a game in Florida.
Right.
Florida's going to, in order for Florida to win this series, they're going to have to win 2 games in New York. Because I'm one of those people that always says that home ice advantage is not really home ice advantage until game 7.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in hockey. Because what happens is a lot of times you'll see a split, they'll have a split of the first 2 games. And then they'll go back to the other city. And they'll get a split in those 2 games as well. So the key to winning a series is you have to win. If you have home ice advantage, if you win 1 on the road, you're gonna win. If you don't have home ice advantage, you've got to win 2 games in the other team's arena. Because you can't assume you're going to go 3-0.
So home ice advantage works in game 7, unlike game 7s in the NBA.
Well, yeah, it does, and the reason
I'm gonna throw you a little jab, huh? Okay, that's a good jab. That's a good jab.
Well, it does, because there's a couple of reasons for it. Number one, the face-offs. When you have home ice, the visiting center has to put his stick down first, so you have to get that advantage on the face-offs on home ice. And number 2 is that on home ice you get the last change, so that's another big factor. Because you get to pick who you want to play against.
Now on the Western Conference side, didn't Vancouver have their last home ice at Game 7 against Edmonton?
Yep.
Edmonton home.
Vancouver lost.
Yeah,
they lost, but again, Edmonton won 2 games in Vancouver.
Yeah.
Didn't Vancouver wasn't like one of their best players? Did he not play that Game 7?
Yeah, unfortunately, who was it? Besser had blood clots, unfortunately, and he couldn't in that Game 7. Also, Vancouver had to play with their backup goalie as well. Really hurt him.
Remind me of the Knicks.
Well,
on the blows.
Yeah, well, the Knicks, that was ridiculous.
It was terrible.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. We'll get into that with.
We'll definitely get into that. Being a Knicks fan, so we definitely get into that.
Yeah, so far so good for the Rangers. Penalty kill, 46 seconds left on the power play, and Florida hasn't really had a good opportunity yet. So
good.
The one thing you can count on with the Rangers is their penalty killing is really good.
What did it take for the Stars to be in the Western Conference Finals?
Well, I think they're the best team in the West.
Yeah,
it's that close. The Stars are the most well-rounded team.
Yeah.
In the West, they do not have a weakness.
Yeah,
they have a very good young goaltender in Jake Ottinger. Their defense is really strong. They're like a blanket, and they got a lot of guys who can score. Wyatt Johnson, who's a rookie forward on Dallas, is just having an unbelievable playoff, and he seems to be leading that team.
Now, do you think that the Dallas was like their role was a little bit more harder than any other team in postseason?
Yes, absolutely. They had to go through the Golden Knights in the first round, Stanley Cup champions.
Yes.
Okay, and that Golden Knight team, especially with the trades they made, and strengthening their team with Hannafin and then Thomas Hertl, that was a tremendous team. I thought for sure that Vegas was going to win that series.
I did too, Brad.
I got that one wrong.
I did too. Especially when they came out that first game, and because it looked like they had the momentum, and then Dallas just kind of caught rhythm, and when they caught rhythm, it was over once they caught rhythm.
Yeah, well, what's amazing is that Dallas lost their first 2 home games.
Yeah,
and then they went and won 2 in Vegas. As I said, you have if you're going to win a series, I don't care if you have home ice advantage or not. You have to win road games. Okay, the Rangers had home ice against the Canes. You know what? They won twice in Carolina, and Carolina won at the Garden. The one game that you can always count on to be huge in the NHL is home ice in Game 7. That's when you really want Game 7. I mean, Boston won on their home ice against Toronto in Game 7.
Yep, they sure did.
You know, it usually if you have Game 7 on your home ice, that's a win. You know, Dallas, same thing with Dallas. You know, and Edmonton beat Vancouver, but Vancouver was missing their top goal scorer and their number one goalie. Demko was out the whole series, which really hurt him, and that was a huge factor. Dallas has enough defense and goaltending. You know, they're going to give up some goals against Edmonton, no question. He's as great as they are defensively. They're going to give up some goals because nobody can really stop Edmonton. You know, you can control them, but you can't stop them. So, you know, as long as they're not giving up 4 or 5 goals a game, they can beat Edmonton because Edmonton is very weak at goaltending right now. I do not like Stuart Skinner at all.
Indeed. Gil was talking about that.
Listen, he got yanked a couple of games for, what's his name, Pickering? Yeah,
yeah.
Think about that. He had never played 2 games in a row in his entire career. And he went and he played 2 games in a row in that series. And then Edmonton went back to Skinner, you know, for Game 7, and they won.
Well, Edmonton, weren't they up? Like 4-1?
Yeah.
Game 1, and then they lost 5-4.
Yes. But that's Edmonton, and they're always been especially careless defensively at home. I don't know what that's all about, but at home they always seem to get very careless defensively. I think it's because they want to please the fans and they play too much offense and they don't settle into playing defense. But you look at that team offensively; they've got so many guys who could score. I mean, if they get rolling, if they had a top goalie, nobody would beat them. I mean, you know, but that is a huge weakness on their part. They are clearly the 4th best team goaltending wise out of these four teams that are left.
So what's your prediction on the series? Dallas
I like Dallas in 6.
Okay.
You know, I can't see them losing that series to Edmonton unless Skinner plays over his head. He's got to play better than average, and he's been below average, and below average is not going to win this particular series.
And I think with that
Dallas,
I think with that series too, Brad, if it's one of them things, if only reason I can see Edmonton winning that series is Dallas really just, you know, by them playing 2 hard games and 2 hard series, that they kind of play down to the competition. And then you kind of could sneak in the wins because you didn't play your best game.
Listen, anything can happen. I mean, you know, Edmonton is a great offensive team. You know, I mean, if Dallas, if Ottinger has a rough playoff series, I mean, listen, last year we were saying the same thing about Dallas, and Ottinger spit it out against the who did they lose to last year? They lost to Seattle, didn't they?
Yep, Seattle. Yep, they sure do. The Kraken.
I mean, come on, Seattle. You saw what Seattle did this year.
Nothing.
They regressed and became what we expected them to be, which is not all that good. You know, but that's the whole thing. Dallas also has a chip on their shoulder from last year, and I would think that might have a lot to do with what's going on with them.
So you are predicting a Rangers Stars final, not to be confused with finals like the NBA does. NHL final, Stars, Rangers. Is it too early for you to predict that one, or you want to take a step?
I'd like to see both teams' health before I predict that one, to be honest with you. If both teams are healthy, like they are right now, you know, I think the Rangers could beat the Stars. The Stars are a really good team, too. I mean, listen, the Rangers could lose to Florida easily, and they could easily lose to Dallas. There's no question. I think all 4 of these out of the 4 of these teams, the one team that I don't think has a shot is Edmonton. But again, you know, they can score. They have they have the best player in the NHL on their team. Let's not forget that.
Connor.
Yep, and Draisaitl is no slouch either. But you could see Draisaitl when Connor was injured. Draisaitl looked lost to me. He looked lost in space. You know, and then when Connor came back, all of a sudden he was Draisaitl again. But I mean, you know, that's
we've seen that before. Look at how Leclerc looked without Lindros.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. He was with the Rangers in Toronto.
Right.
Not very good.
Right.
You know, there's something to be said about that.
To that. Yeah.
There's a lot of mixing and matching.
Pippen didn't have to score in the fourth quarter. He had Michael.
Yeah.
Exactly. He just played defense.
Right. Just play defense. Before we get out of the NHL, my New Jersey Devils hired a new coach. Brad, why have the Devils not been relevant the last decade plus? And will this new coach
change? They were relevant last year.
Yeah, they were. They had a great season.
Okay. They were really good last year.
Okay.
They just didn't listen. They upset the Rangers.
Yeah,
they got wiped out by Carolina, but you know what? A lot of those guys was their first time in the playoffs, and Carolina is a very difficult team to play against. You know, it took the Rangers a couple of times of playing Carolina in the playoffs before they got past them. So,
why did the Devils regress this year then?
Well, they lost Dougie Hamilton very early in the season, and Jack Hughes was hurt probably half the season. So, you know, there's something to be said there. And for whatever reason, neither one of their goalies played well. Schmid, I don't know what happened to him. I mean, he, as great as he played in the Ranger series last year, okay, he was awful this season. It's like he went back to being an East Coast Hockey League goalie again instead of being a top-notch playoff performer. So it's sometimes that stuff happens, and sometimes teams regress after having a great year too. You know, that happens all the time, and then the third year they come back. I think as far as the Devils are concerned, I'd still be real concerned about them if they go out and they get themselves a goalie. And it doesn't even have to be a top goalie, just a good, steady goalie. You know, give me a guy who's like in the top, what the league has, 32 teams in it? Give me
many?
Number 15 in the league. Okay, and not number 28 or 29. Okay, or in the Devils' case, probably number 32. It was that bad. It was like having Daniel Jones as your quarterback.
Oh man. You said that. I didn't say that.
I'm a Giant fan. I can say it.
You can say it.
Right.
I'm a Giant fan, so I can say it. Okay, it's kind of like that. You know, you have to improve the goaltending. I don't know where you get a goalie from, and I don't know who the answer is, but they're going to have to find an answer in the offseason because the guys they had, they weren't it. And the guy they got from San Jose, he's not it either.
Great.
So yeah, you guys got to find yourself a goalie. My opinion is the Flames goalie, who was really good, and his name now escapes me right this second. That'd be a good guy to go after because he had a terrific season. What the hell is his name now? Can't remember. But it's the Flames starting goalie this past season. He was sensational.
Calgary.
Yeah, Calgary.
I'll send a letter. I'll do a handwritten letter.
That's the guy. That's the guy. If I am, that you can get him because he's an unrestricted free agent.
Well, they got to do something. Because it's just bothering me that since 2012 they haven't even sniffed.
Jacob Markstrom.
What's his name?
Markstrom.
Yeah, Markstrom.
Markstrom. He was tremendous this season. I mean, he was unreal this season. So you know that's the guy. If the Devils can find a way to get him, and he is a free agent, so. All it's going to take is money. They don't have to give up draft choices. They just have to spend some money. and bring this guy in. I mean, they'll have him. They'll have Dougie Hamilton back. They'll have Jack Hughes. Hopefully for them, will be healthy, and they're going to be a tough team. That's a team. That's a team I would be expecting next year to bounce back. And I like Keefe. I think he's a good coach. I just think that the players on Toronto are the issue. Because you know what? How many coaches have they gone through now the last 5 years?
Well, about as many as the Lakers.
Yeah, I mean, how many coaches, how many general managers in the last 20 years? I mean, that team, it's almost like you would think George Steinbrenner came back to life as the president of Toronto. They're always firing their coaches. They're always firing their general managers. They got all these great players and they never have a good goalie. It's the same. It's always
they always lose in the first round.
Yep.
They Boston.
Yep. They always have a good regular season, and their knock is like as soon as they get to postseason, they flounder.
And they lose bad too. They lose in Game 7, first round, overtime. It's
every year though.
Every year, it feels like it gets worse every year.
Yeah, it does. I mean, imagine being a Leaf fan. That's not 19. It's been since 1967.
They're one of the original 6.
Yeah, well, the Rangers had the original mark for futility in the NHL for not winning the cup.
I remember 54 years.
Well, the Leafs broke that record. They just finished year number 57. So that monkey is off our back, and now it's on their back. And now it's not a monkey. Now it's like a Tyrannosaurus.
I was a senior in high school when the Rangers won the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, I was in my third.
Being from North Jersey, it was a big deal, and the Knicks were in the finals at the same time.
Yeah, Messi was on that team, right?
Messier, he got the hat trick against the Devils.
Yeah, they had Messier and they had some team that back then. They had Messier, Leach,
Richter, the goaltender,
Adam Graves,
Glenn
Anderson. I mean, they had all these guys. Kevin Lowe. They got all the Edmonton veterans they brought in. Craig McTavish, they brought him in. Remember, late in the season. That was some team.
Yeah, they almost choked it away. Almost choked it away to the Devils. Almost choked it away to Vancouver. But
I wouldn't say they choked it. They almost choked it away from the Devils. The Devils were really good that year.
Well,
they almost choked it away to Vancouver because they were a much better team than Vancouver, and they let Vancouver back in that series. They had a 3-1 lead, and then they let Vancouver win those last 2 games to make it 3-3.
Right.
And all Ranger fans knew that, it was going to take 7 games to slew the Dragon that year.
So many of my friends were Ranger fans and rubbing it in my face with the Mato. Okay.
One more hill to climb.
yeah, I got it. But since then, the Devils have won 3 cups.
Yes, they have.
So I'll take it.
Yes, they have. And you know what? Again, it's funny. I hear a lot of stuff. I talk a lot with the Flyer fans, and they're very excited about next season, and they're thinking Michkov is going to come in, and they're automatically going to be in the playoffs because of him. But what they don't understand is, and I look at the Devils, I kind of look at the Flyers the same way. They had a real good season last year. Okay, they almost made the playoffs. The Devils made the playoffs, and they got past the Rangers in the first round. But sometimes things don't always go as expected. You can't just expect one player to have that kind of an impact on a team when he's 19 years old.
Yeah.
So I still think the Flyers are a year away. I think if Michkov does make the trip, I think they can make the playoffs. They could, but are they automatic? Not yet. I think the Devils, if they can get healthy and they get a goaltender, I think that's an automatic playoff spot for them.
Because I know at one point Philly was on the brink of contending for that final wild card spot, and then it kind of wilted at the end.
Well, you could say wilt, but I think it was more or less, everybody says they got tired. I don't know that it was tired. I just think that, you know what, everybody figured out how they played and how Tortorella had that team playing, and they were a lot more easily prepared to play them. At the beginning of the season and midway through the season, nobody was ready to play. Nobody was ready to play against them. They didn't figure out how to play them and how to beat them. And it took a while, but you know what? Eventually, they went and they traded. They unfortunately for them, they went and they traded. Who was it? That they traded their one really good defenseman that they had to Colorado at the trade deadline, Sean Walker. They traded him to the Avalanche, and they created a big hole in their defense. And then they lost a lot. They lost a lot of games, and they didn't score a lot. That kind of stuff. The Devils, look, they had a great power play too a couple of years ago. And last year they had a great power play until Jack Hughes got hurt. And then all of a sudden when Jack Hughes got hurt the first time, they really suffered. But when he got hurt the second time, that was it. They couldn't withstand that. And they didn't have Dougie Hamilton for 9/10 of the season. And he got hurt in the end of October, I think he got hurt. And he was the point man on their power play.
Is Nico still on the team?
Yeah. I mean, he's still a good player. I mean, you brought up Jack's brother Luke Hughes, who had a really good year. I mean, I think I'd be very concerned about the Devils next year, as I said, but I won't be concerned unless they get a goalie. They got to get themselves a goalie. I don't care what it takes. If you have to give up a draft pick, a first round pick, whatever it takes, you got to get a really good goalie in there. Because if you can get yourself a really good goalie in there, you can definitely that team can be a real pain in the ass. They're so fast, and they got so much talent up front.
Nice.
So
one last thing before we're off the NHL is Connor Bedard. Is he the real deal?
Oh yeah, he got hurt. But so he missed a good portion of the season. But he's a real good player. I would look for him to have an even better year next year. I don't think Chicago is going anywhere next year. I mean, he can't do it himself. He's going to have get some help. So they're in a deep rebuild. So they're going to need a lot of help before you start seeing them make noise.
And then normally that kind of happens that way, doesn't it? The team kind of got to rebound from ground zero and build up.
Well, when you get into that deep, as far as a rebuild is concerned, like some teams like retool, okay? But when you get into a deep rebuild, like the San Jose Sharks or the Anaheim Ducks, when you get to that point, or the Blackhawks, okay, where you're that awful and you're still trying to get rid of your old players and replace them with young players and get them on the ice to get them ice time, it takes a while. So, as good as Bedard is, he's going to need a lot of help. And the Blackhawks are going to need to sign some free agents to help him out. They're going to have to make some good trades to draft to help him out, and they're going to have to draft real well. So hopefully for them, they have a good draft this year, and help the kid out. He's going to be a real good player, though, no question about that. He already is.
Good. Looking forward to it. All right. Well, we did that hockey, y'all. So let's move over to the hardwood, the association, the NBA. Listen, the final four teams: Celtics, Pacers, Timberwolves, Mavericks. But let's talk about how we got here, man. Let's talk about how we got here. Do you want the slow death, or let's just rip the Band-Aid off now?
Hey man, hey man, I'm a Knicks fan, Brad. Knicks fan.
Yeah, me too.
And it's it was what it was, man. I mean, once again, Game 7 at home, we dominated them at Game 7. I'm expecting it going back once again. When you got it on going up on the team, you got to kill them, man. You got to kill them. Once we had that momentum, we blew them out in Game 5, and we went back to Indiana for the closeout game. You got to kill them, man. You can't give them life. And what happened was they came out and handled business, man. So I was already on the fence about us going back to the Garden because I felt we was going to live off our crowd and kind of, you know, get off the energy of the crowd. We can't keep doing that. Not with that type of team. Halliburton woke up. They were a faster team. You know, they're a transition team. That's how they play. They're a transition team, right? And I thought they just out hustled us. Unfortunately, we were salvaging what we had. You know, we had these Villanova guys, and I mean, it's good when it's good, but you see the deficiencies. We definitely needed Julius Randle. We did another score. OG tried to come and help us, but he wasn't 100%. So it was, and then Jalen went out with his thumb. It's just bad, you know. It was just a whole bunch of just, unfortunately, the way it happens, man. And then it's Tibb, man. It's Tibb, man. That system, once again, he's known to give too much. 48 minutes in a playoff game is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. He should have had them guys coming in rotation, man. You know, because I honestly, I think we were gassed game 7. We were gassed, you know, because the rotation wasn't, you know, Tibb. That's what he's known to do. He will overplay a player, man. That's insane in the playoffs. Come on, man. But kudos to the Pacers. They came in there, handled their business. It hurts. It hurts to see my team, because I thought we had a legitimate shot of trying Boston. I didn't think we was going to win the series. Obviously, I think that Boston is just primed to go to a finals. You know,
I hope Boston beats the crap out of them. I can't.
I do too, man. I do too.
Reggie Miller. I can't stand Indiana. Yeah. I hate Dale Davis. I hate Antonio Davis. I still hate Rick Schmitz. I hate that whole team. Indiana's
just never been one of my teams.
I don't like Boston either, but
yeah,
it's kind of gotten to a point where, you know, the Knicks have been so bad all these years. You know, it's nice that they finally are back, but we haven't had to play the Celtics in the playoffs, so the hasn't come back yet with the Celtics. You know, it's clearly there. It's always been there for Indiana.
Yeah, with the Reggie Miller choking and. You know, we just got bad blood for Indiana, man. If any team not to lose, it was them. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have a rivalry with them. Boston, like we said.
You know, when Jordan called Reggie Miller a little girl, you remember that one?
Yeah.
Because he was always pushing off to get his open shots.
Get his own shot.
Yeah, he would be pushing off all the time, and then if you did it to him, he cried to the referee.
I love Jordan. I'm a Jordan guy all day, every day. But Jordan should not be calling out anybody when it comes to him getting calls.
You're right about that.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. But
Jordan got the calls.
Reggie Miller
got the call. That's why I call it the Jordan rules.
He did, but you know what? You know what though? Jordan didn't need to push anybody off.
Nah, Jordan.
But he did. He didn't need to, but he did.
Well, he did.
But Brian Russell with that?
Yeah,
that was over. He was overplaying defensively.
When you put your hand on the guy
defensively,
and he goes the other direction. Come on, man. Come on. I love Jordan. He made the shot, and he got the steal right before that.
When you're a 6'4" stud athlete, a hand on the hip shouldn't knock you down.
That part.
The guy's the same size as him. It wasn't like he pushed a 7-footer.
He's a flop.
Yeah, he's still the floppy champion.
He's a flop.
He didn't cross him over. He pushed him over. Whatever. Anyway.
Speaking of that Boston game, man, you know, Indiana was supposed. Once again, it's a combination of a lot of things. One, yes, coach has to eat that one because once again, you're supposed to call timeout. It's a simple foul situation.
They had that game.
It was over. It was over. All you literally had to do was get it inbound. They're going to foul you. Go to the line. You're playing a free throw game. There's no way that. What are you rushing for? The clock is your friend right now. Mm-hmm. Why are you rushing? You're not the one down. Mm-hmm. You know why are you advancing the ball so fast up the court?
That's what you need. It felt that was like the Sixers in Game 2 against the Knicks. You need a leader to calm everybody down. And when at the end, when it got tight, you know, throwing the ball away, turnover, afraid to play defense.
Yeah. And that's where the youth comes in at, the inexperience. That's where it comes in at. They played an awesome game, and I thought that Boston was going to come out because of the rest. You know, and then Jaylen Brown hits that three. Like, it's just a lot of things. You know, why ain't you foul him? Just, you know, I'm taking my chance with you at the line. Then you killing me with a 3 and tying it. You know, I mean, it just, I don't know, man.
Why? Yeah, I don't understand why Indiana didn't foul Boston in that situation. I mean, listen, that was a heck of a shot by
heck of a shot.
That shot, right?
Yeah,
unbelievable.
That guy was in his face.
Yeah,
but he should have fouled him right away. Not even let him. As soon as he caught the ball, he should have been pushed out of bounds.
They're afraid. They're afraid they're going to jack up a shot as they're getting fouled.
As they're getting right.
You know, it'll be
Boston doing that when they had to play defense in the last like 8-9 seconds of the of regulation time. They had no problem playing defense.
Mm-hmm.
That's the difference.
I think Boston wins this in 6. I think that the Indiana will get one at home. I think they'll probably get. If they're going to win, it's going to be at home. They might have a steal game too. You know,
they might get 2 at home. You know, you never know.
Yeah,
they have a lot of offense. They got a lot of athletes, and you know, in the fourth quarter, Jason Tatum is not Jason Tatum like he is in the first 3 quarters.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and then you got to think you got a heck of a game out of Drew Holiday. Like that don't happen. You got 28 points out of Drew Holiday, great defense as he's known for. I just think with Porzingis not being there, it hurts because the series is not going to go as deep with him there. But then when he comes back, he's not going to be 100%. You know what I mean? So he's still got to get back. And this is the playoffs, man. This ain't regular season. This is high intensity. So you're talking about him coming off an injury back in the playoffs. If you get any good positive minutes out of him, that's a plus. You know what I mean? But I don't think it's going to be as impactful would it have been if he wasn't coming off an injury. You know what I mean? And
didn't they say he'd be ready by game 3?
That's what they said. I mean, they going to need him because going to that finals, you know, I mean, it don't matter who come up that West, man. It's going to be a hard out, brother.
That size.
They definitely do for that size.
Minnesota is just so.
Oh, yeah, they're
so athletic.
They are, man. And then
they're big.
They are.
To me, they're long and they're athletic. I don't know. I don't know if that is that series over yet with them in Denver.
Oh yeah, they won.
They beat Denver in Denver
by 10. They beat them by 10 in Denver.
Not only that, not only they beat them by 10, but in the third quarter they were down 20.
They were down 20. They outscored them 30
in the third.
They beat them 30-14
and won by 10.
Yes,
Minnesota did that.
Minnesota. Yeah,
Minnesota
I seen it happening though.
20 in the third quarter to Denver in Denver. Came back.
Boston athletically doesn't match up with them. They're going to need Porzingis.
Yeah, because Boston, unfortunately, they play this kind of like this ISO because you know Brown could create his own shot and Tatum can, right? It's not a fluent offense. You know, it's mostly Tatum trying to get his thing off and Brown, right? I don't know if that's going to be effective. It's the same effect when they try to play Golden State. It was, you know what I mean? It was they brought that type of game, but then Golden State, obviously they had Steph Curry, which was just a different animal. But they played as a unit though. You know, they played off of Steph Curry, but there was a lot of ball movement in that offense, right? Minnesota or Dallas. You know, with Dallas, you're going to get a two-headed monster with, you know, Kyrie, obviously, and Luka, which, you know, Luka's going to do what Luka do, right? But I think it's a complementary players with Dallas because you got PJ Washington stepping up. You got they're kind of tall because you got Lively, and then you got what's the other center? Gafford. They got Gafford too. You know, still got Hardaway. So the Dallas got a team right now is 66-65 in the third with Minnesota and the Mavericks. Obviously, Mavericks went up 67-66. Right? It's gonna be a close game. I can't call that one because I think Minnesota had a.
You gotta call it. Come on, you gotta.
I can't
call
because
it.
I think
yes, you can.
I want to say Minnesota, right? I want to say Minnesota, right? I don't know, bro, because look, I think Minnesota had the rougher, just like Dallas did in the NHL. I think they had a harder path because you think they had to beat.
They had to play Denver.
But that's why I can't really pencil. I can't say it because Dallas, they have a funny team, man, and it's they have an outstanding player in Luka. Luka is really a dynamic player, man. You figure they went to the West Coast Conference when they played Golden State that year, right? They're tall. the matchup. It's the matchup because they got a dynamic.
Minnesota beat Phoenix in the
They
first.
did, but Phoenix don't have a bench. You got 3 guys with no bench, no bench. It was like I wasn't surprised. It was 3 guys.
You were surprised that they beat? Would they get swept?
The sweep, I probably was a little bit surprised by, but I didn't think that Phoenix was going to win the series because once again, you put all that money in 3 players. You don't have no cap room.
Mm-hmm.
You need glue. I mean, I think Bodenheiser coming. Them hiring Bodenheiser will probably. That's the kind of coach you need. But they need a point guard. They need a point guard.
No, that's what they need.
They need a point guard.
To fire Vogel. They needed to.
He's trash. He's trash. He's trash. He ain't know what to do with that. He's garbage. Like Vogel,
really?
He's trash, man. He's trash.
He just won in the bubble. He won a title in the bubble.
Man,
that doesn't count.
Man, come on, man.
It doesn't count because you don't.
It
like
don't count. It don't count. It don't count. It
you
don't
like
pressure.
who won. That's why
it's TV screen, bro.
He was good in Indiana.
He had Paul George.
All right.
In his prime.
Paul George is good, but we've seen that Paul George ain't clutch.
No. Once again, he had Paul George in his prime, you know? So was it really good coaching or you just had a dynamic player at that time? He's trash. Maybe LeBron broke his confidence when he went out LA. You know, LeBron's known for breaking coaches' confidences. Poor Darvin Ham. He probably ain't going to want to coach ever again dealing with this diva.
LeBron and all his bronzexuals.
I'm saying, man, look.
LeBron
is in LA. It's going to be he's going to get his guy. He's going to get JJ Redick or Ty Lue. So
he's going to get JJ Redick.
Could that happen?
What JJ Redick?
No, LeBron. Could he end up on the Knicks?
We had this discussion last week. He's going to go where Bronny goes.
Yeah, he was discussing that. He said
LeBron's going to go.
Yeah, he's going to go. So wherever if Lakers don't draft him, they will have to make some trades to get him. Because LeBron is going to go. He's leveraged himself to go where his son is going. That's why he has not renegotiated a contract. That's why he's not going to sign off. Because he got to see where his son going to land. Wherever his son going to land, that team, they might just grab him just because they know they could either get LeBron or going to get a good package for Bronny. If I'm a GM, I'd do it. I'd draft a kid. Your dad going right, I would.
This is a good question for you, Brad. So Bronny averaged just over 3 points playing at USC last year. Okay, junk. Maybe he does better as he gets older in the NBA.
NBA player.
How if you're a team in the first round, how high do you go to draft Bronny, knowing that you're probably going to get LeBron if you do that?
If you're a bad team, you don't bother because LeBron won't go there anyway.
I agree.
So I mean, I think it's going to be a playoff team that's going to draft him. That doesn't really need their first round pick. So I think the Knicks could do something like that.
Yeah, the Knicks will be a good look
in their spot. What are they, like 20, 21, 22, something like that?
Yeah, they could. Yeah, because I think Bill, we're talking about that, right? What if New York got him?
We talked about Knicks, Brooklyn, Dallas. What if he goes
Dallas? Yes, Knicks. Yes, Brooklyn. No, he's not going to want to go.
Yeah, now he's going to want to go Brooklyn because Brooklyn is nothing out to Brooklyn to build upon for a championship. Yeah, he's not going to go Brooklyn. Well, Philly.
Philly, he could go to Philly.
Embiid. Maxey.
He replaced Tobias Harris and his 0 points.
Yeah.
Does Philly have guys to trade to LA?
You get rid of Tobias to trash.
Tobias isn't under contract.
Oh, he's not under contract. Yeah.
His last game as a Sixer, he scores no points.
Yeah, that's his last game as a Sixer. Yeah, definitely. He's done. Now I don't think they really have no trade value.
What if they just draft him then? What if they just draft him?
What LA? What? Yeah,
What
they
if
drafted in
Philadelphia just drafts Bronny?
Bronny. That'd be a smart. That'd be a heck of a play.
But how are they going to afford him?
That part.
He's
he'll take the minimum.
Play for the minimum.
Yeah, say he'll play for the minimum. He'll say he'll play the minimum. So he's not doing it for the money.
You really think he'd do that?
Yeah.
Oh, man, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, he can take the veteran minimum.
I don't know. It's not like he needs the money. It's not like
we don't
reset the market.
Yeah, but ego-wise, he's got such an ego. I can't believe he would do that.
I mean, he's a billionaire, so
yeah. At this point, he's pretty much a billionaire.
It doesn't matter. Money is money.
Well, he's got to make a choice. Does he want to play on a good team with his son, or does he not want to play with his son at all? Or does he want to play with his son?
Here's the problem. Okay, if you draft his son and you bring in LeBron, does that mean you have to play his son?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or at least have. I think the New York situation would be good for him because at least you have a known point guard. He can learn underneath that point guard. You know what I mean? And
he also has to be on the floor when LeBron's on the floor some of the time.
Yeah. So I think that'd be good rotation for Brunson.
Well, if the Knicks got LeBron, there'd be a lot of garbage time, so he would get a lot of chances to play.
Yeah, he would. Yeah, he would. He would.
Yeah, I mean that's.
I mean, hey, big market.
Tibbs will work him though. You know, in practice.
Yeah, Tibbs definitely work him. Good big market. New York
big market.
The King in Madison Square Garden, right? Why not? You don't think you can do Cleveland?
No.
Go back home
for a third time. It's not a big enough market. He never would have left to go to LA. He would have just stayed in Cleveland.
He could finish in Cleveland though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like retire Cleveland with his son there, take his son back home, Ohio, his son back to the roots where he grew up, and
it could happen, but I don't think so. I don't think he leaves LA. I don't think he leaves Cleveland to go to LA and then leaves LA to go back to Cleveland. The only reason he left Miami was because Pat Riley wouldn't fire
Spoelstra.
And Pat Riley didn't really let him do what all the things that he wants to do.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that was actually smart though, because Spoelstra is probably the best coach in the NBA.
Oh yeah, definitely, for sure. He gets
more out of less than anybody.
For sure. He is definitely the
okay. Yeah. But the flip side is LeBron's won 2 titles in 2 different cities since he's left.
Yeah, but
hasn't won anything.
Yeah,
he hasn't won anything. They made it to the finals last year.
Yeah. I mean,
as good as they've been.
But you gotta think though, Gil. Look at the teams LeBron levers with. Come on, man. That Cleveland team was stacked, bro. It was stacked. You went out to LA with AD that actually played like a dominant AD. Like, who was going to beat them?
Well, that year he actually didn't get hurt.
Yeah, he was healthy. It's the healthiest he's been since he probably came as a rookie. So who's going to beat him that year? Come on, man. He had Jimmy Butler with a bunch of role players around him. Jimmy Butler's a role player, to be honest. But a highly paid role player. He is. I mean, yeah, he hit some big shots. But he was a role player in Chicago. Come on, bro. He just happened to exceed expectations, okay? You had a bunch of role players in Miami. It was clearly seen. You go against Denver, but they overmatched. You had a superstar Joker. Murray just had a heck of a series, right? They were just overly matched. You've seen it. It was like playing a B-League team against the varsity. Come on, man. You've seen it. Like JV against the varsity. Do you think that Miami really had a shot to win that series?
No. I didn't think they had a shot to beat Boston, and they beat Boston.
Yeah, but then again, we know about Tatum. Tatum is Tatum. Did he not score? He got injured in Game 7, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
He got injured.
He did, yeah.
Yeah, so, you know.
Well, whoever gets Bronny, if they get LeBron, they're only going to get him for 2 years.
That's it, 2 years. 2 years max.
2 years.
2 years max. And then, I mean, it's cool. He'll be what, 40, right?
He'll be 40.
He's at the Jordan part of this thing, man. You know, and, I mean, he's still giving you the numbers, like, you know, but you're at the Jordan stages. Are you going to get another chip with LeBron? Honestly, Do you see another chip?
As long as he's not the guy. If he's part, but you know, if LeBron's option 2 or 3.
Get back what Brad said. I don't think his ego will allow him to be
he will win in Philly.
I think back to Brad's point, his ego won't let him. Because it's just great. It's just the king, the greatness.
You think he's going to let Jalen Brunson be the man?
No, he's not.
And he'll be a big baby and sulk probably.
Yeah, he will.
Yeah, but hasn't he been trying to push Anthony Davis to be the man in LA? Isn't he pushing him to be number 1?
But like, I think Doc Rivers made a great point. He said, I think Anthony Davis is cool with being known as a defensive player more than an offensive player. So you'll push him into a role where he's really not comfortable being in. You know,
then he's not a winner and he's not the competitor. The ability that he has, I mean, he should be arguably the best big man in the league.
Well, you see what he does, man. The guy, you can't even touch him. He's fragile. He's Mr. Glass.
Some guys are like that. Embiid is like that too.
No, Embiid is.
Embiid against the Knicks couldn't jump in the 4th quarter in any of those games.
Well, they said he has palsy.
That's face. Yeah, but that was that was on his face.
Yeah, I think it triggered back to his back too, because he is. He's Mr. Glass too. He's 7 foot, always on the ground. He's on the ground more than Allen Iverson. At least Allen Iverson had a reason to be on the ground. You're 7'5". Why are you always on the ground, man?
If he had the heart of Allen Iverson, he'd a couple of championships.
Oh, you're right too. Especially in this league, man. He's supposed to be like Shaq, man. Like literally like Shaq, dominant. But no, he wants to be a Euro guy, shoots threes.
Yeah, well, Shaq was a killer type of player.
Yeah, he was.
Once Shaq smelled blood, that was it.
Yeah, and then he took it personal.
Give me the damn ball, and I'm going to stuff it, and nobody's going to stop me.
And then Shaq took it personal when you decide you're going to play him one-on-one. He took it personal. Yeah, he felt like, I'm going to embarrass you. You have the audacity to play me one-on-one with this guy? Okay. And I wish Embiid had that same mentality.
Well, but let's be fair. Before Embiid got injured, he was playing great. And he was playing, we both said he needed to start playing. He got injured, and he was taking a lot of outside shots again. Because he didn't want to bang. He didn't want to be in. He was on half a leg.
Honestly, man, honestly, Philly shit in the loss to the Knicks, man. I'm a Knicks fan.
The 3 of us picked Philly. The 3 of us before it started, we picked Philly.
But that's what you get when you got a bum called Tobias Harris as your 3rd option.
Ugh. Can you just imagine if he would have just scored like 6 points, they would have won that game.
Yeah. And I think he played 40 minutes, 30 plus minutes.
I mean, he started.
Trash.
Started.
Trash.
Right. Trash is right. All right. So before we get off the NBA, we're saying Celtics in 6?
Yeah.
And Timberwolves and Mavs. Come on.
I'm going 7. I'm going 7.
Start it off.
Yeah.
I'll say Timberwolves in 7.
I'm going to say Timberwolves in 6.
I'll go Timberwolves in 7.
Yeah.
Brad, what do you think?
I agree. 7.
7. Okay. All right. Well, that would be great. That would be very exciting.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be a good series.
Anthony Edwards, he has arrived. All right. So what's left? Pretty quickly.
We had a great boxing match. If you want to, it was great. Once again, retired fighters stay retired, man. Stay retired. Okay, Usyk is that guy. Okay, he's that guy. He's that guy, man. Like listen, he was faster. He can hit, and he wasn't intimidated. And Tyson Fury did not use his advantage. His advantage is his height and his length. You're supposed to keep him at bay with that jab. You're supposed to pluck him with that jab. He let Usyk get inside. Once Usyk got inside and he caught him, he was hitting him with some shots, man. He was hitting him some shots, man. Split decision, went to Usyk. Once again, retired fighters need to stay retired. Because you retire for a reason. I get it. You want the itch. Cool. Fight an exhibition fight. It don't go against you, it don't hurt you none. You know, like Floyd and Mike Tyson and, you know, Jake Paul, what they about to do, right? You get a free check, easy money, cool, right? You talking about guys active. Usyk is still active, okay? And you came out of retirement, you know, maybe you thought maybe because Deontay Wilder, which I always knew that was just a farce. He was a farce. I've been called that guy. He had small legs, no type of footwork, no type of boxing ability. He had one right hand. If he caught you with it, it was lights out. That was his bread and butter. Outside that, trash. Okay.
So what's next for both of these guys?
Usyk
is the champ now. Did they run it back?
For what?
Decision?
Nah, hell no. Tyson Fury needed to know. Tyson Fury needed to go ahead and lay it down. But I think as a champ, I think his heart and just the fact that loss, he's gonna want to run it back. You know, or he might just say, nah, I need to stay retired, man. You know, maybe, you know, my heart's not in it like that no more. Usyk, you know, it's the next level. Who's next on the plate? Who's next? Is it Joshua?
Is there anybody else? I feel like they're just recycling the same names.
Yeah, I don't.
Joshua gets a title fight after beating Ngannou.
Yeah. The heavyweight's weak right now, bro. I don't know who is even worthy of watching.
It's been weeks since Lennox Lewis retired.
It has. It really has. Vladimir Klitschko.
It wasn't good with them.
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't good.
Right.
Two brothers, Vladimir and Vitaly.
It wasn't. It wasn't. It was the weakest form of heavyweight division. You're right. I agree. Well, you know, Tank is about to fight this guy, Frank Martin. Gervonta Davis.
They're not heavyweights.
No, I'm just saying that's the next big fight that's coming up, but it's a good promotion fight. It's not going to be a fight. It's you know these guys, man. They pick their poison, man. You know, they don't want to fight for belts. They want to fight for the check. I get it. It's for you know. I'm disgusted with boxing, bro. You know, I really am. Like, you should be an exciting sport, man. I look forward to seeing the days when the best fought the best. Okay, not ducking and running and picking and choosing and you're fighting opponents that's really not on your level. You're going to sell the fight. You're going to do your best to sell this fight because that's what you do. You're selling the fight. You're salesmen, right? But you really know that this ain't no competition. Like this fight we're talking about is no competition.
A lot of guys are stepping stones. That's the problem with boxing.
They're letting the promoters headline instead of the fighters. Promoters are dictating too much. Too much. Nah, it's gotta. They're kind of shooting themselves in the foot. You can't blame the UFC anymore. You can't blame MMA anymore. Boxing is its own worst enemy.
Indeed.
Why when Canelo is fighting, why am I hearing more about Oscar De La Hoya than I am Canelo?
Well, once again, now the champion that won't fight the person that we want to see him fight Benavidez. He won't fight Benavidez for whatever reason. He just don't want to fight the guy. So Benavidez went up in weight. He said, I'm just going to go up in weight because Canelo ain't going to fight me at this weight. So I'm just going to go up and try my hand up in the weight up. So he's taking on a challenge because he's actually fighting at a weight classes that he's heavier at. You know what I'm saying? So I'm curious to see how that go because sometimes we go up in weight, the power don't carry over. Just like when Canelo fought the Russian guy when he fought Bivol.
Oh yeah.
The power didn't come up. So Bivol wasn't intimidated by him because it was like, oh, this is all you got to give me? Okay, cool.
Sometimes it's just the opposite because now the guy doesn't have to cut weight like he had to prior, so he's not dehydrated and and doesn't have the soft chin. And the power actually is better at a heavier weight class. It depends. Fighting 25 pounds.
Do you guys remember when Aaron Pryor fought Alexis Arguello?
Yeah, from the what, the 70s?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or early 80s?
Arguello went up in a weight class to fight Pryor, and he hit Pryor squarely, like right in the nose and in the face, in the mouth, two or three times. Okay, and Pryor just looked at him like, "Excuse me,
Yeah.
what the heck was that?" And then he hit Arguello, and Arguello went flying.
He did.
You know, and like after he realized that he could take his best shot and it had no effect on him, he killed him afterwards.
Yeah.
Didn't that happen with De La Hoya and Bernard Hopkins?
Yeah.
They tried fighting at middleweight.
Yeah, middleweight. Yup.
And then he gets knocked out by a body shot.
A body shot. Put him on his kisser. Body shot.
Yeah.
They say want to pit Ryan Garcia now.
Because these guys are too big for him.
Yeah, it's more than just making the weight. You got to look at, the shoulders, the bone structure, and stuff like that. You can see two guys that weighed in at the same weight, and then when they're in the ring, they look like they're two different weight classes. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah, it's like when Muhammad Ali fought Bob Foster. Okay, Bob Foster was a great middleweight fighter.
Yeah, I was gonna say cruiser, but yeah.
Yeah, I think was he a middleweight or a cruiser?
It's not heavyweight. Let's put it that way.
No. He fought Muhammad Ali, and he hit Muhammad Ali a few times. I mean, he really hit him. And Muhammad Ali could take a punch from anybody.
He could.
Yeah, I mean, I'd never seen a guy who could take the kind of punishment he did.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Like, when he hit Muhammad Ali was like, "Excuse me, did a mosquito just bite me?"
Yeah.
And then when he hit him, that was it. He hit him a couple of times, a couple of combinations. That was it. He was done.
Yeah.
It was like Frazier and Foreman.
Oh.
Frazier and Foreman.
Foreman chopped them down.
Oh, man, he punished them.
Yeah.
Again, but when you look at those two, would you think those were two heavyweights going at it?
No.
Foreman was so much bigger than Frazier.
No.
So much bigger.
No.
Foreman hit him so hard he knocked him backwards a few times.
He did.
And when Frazier was able to hit him, it had like very little effect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Big George knows it's gonna be an easy night. He said it's gonna be an easy night.
And it was.
He knocked him like 4 or 5 times down in that bite.
Yes.
George didn't even want to fight him the second time.
Nah.
He just fought him because Frazier wanted to fight him and he wanted to show him the proper respect, but he didn't even want to fight him the second time.
And then that fight went faster than the first one did.
Yeah,
he knocked him down 5 times.
Foreman waited till the 5th round to finish him off. Wasn't that at the NASA Coliseum, the second one?
Yep.
I didn't see the second one, but I've seen the first one a bunch of times.
Oh, the first one was really bad. The second one, Foreman kind of took it easy on him.
Yeah.
And then he got mad in the 5th round. And he's like, because he got hit a couple of times, like, that's it. I'm done with you. Boom.
All right, so let's be done with boxing. Golf, PGA Championship was this weekend.
Yeah.
Xander, how we pronounce his name? Schauffele. Xander Schauffele wins it, but of course the story was Scotty Scheffler getting arrested on Friday.
Yeah.
They called it assault on a cop when the cop is, attached himself to the car and Scheffler is driving and didn't even know he was attached, and they called that, assault on a cop. Man, I don't know. It just seemed like an overzealous cop to me, but
yeah.
At the same time, I don't know what Scotty Scheffler's thinking when he's in traffic crossing over a medium and being like, "Oh, I didn't know. You don't know. Just wait. You wait in traffic like the rest of us, like I did today." But anyway, do we call that white privilege or just a misunderstanding? Asking you. Asking you, Larry.
Oh man, I'm gonna plead the 5th on that one, man.
Okay.
Plead the 5th on that one, man.
I gave you a chance. Preakness Stakes, Seize the Gray won, beating out Mystic Dan, who won the Kentucky Derby. So there will be no Triple Crown this year.
Now, was that the favorite in that? Was he the favorite to win odds wise?
I don't think so.
I know we had discussed it last week. Who was the favorite to win? I know it wasn't the one that won the Kentucky.
Oh, I'll look back. Give me a second.
Yep.
I'll look back.
I'm curious because I know the one that was predicted to win was like a high odd favorite.
Oh, no, that's it was Muth.
Muth, that's right.
Muth, M-U-T-H. He was 8-5.
Yep.
Mystic Dan was second at 5-2.
Oh, so this horse wasn't even predicted to even win this race. Okay, so it was a long shot horse. Okay.
I don't know the odds on it. I don't know how big of a long shot.
Okay.
But yeah. So anyway, there might be a repeat winner at the Belmont, but it won't be a Triple Crown winner. So that'll be 3 weeks from now. NASCAR, we usually don't talk NASCAR. It was the All-Star NASCAR race, but when the race was over, there was a fight in the pits between Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and Kyle Busch.
Wow.
Looked like Kyle Busch was aggravated at Ricky early in the race, and he took Ricky out, and Ricky threw a punch at him when they were at the pits. You could see the video. There's 2 different camera views from it. It's just a couple of good old boys going at it. Oh, Ricky, but as a penalty, Ricky Stenhouse got fined $75,000. Kyle Busch got fined nothing, since he was the one that actually got punched. So there's that. And that's really about it. I want to do something that I did not do the last time Brad was on, and I kicked myself. Brad, before we go off the air, tell the people where they can see you, where they can catch you. What are you on? What are your socials? Where can we get the knowledge and hear the voice and see the face of one Brad Ryers?
A2D Radio.
A2D Radio.
Tuesday night, Flyer Talk.
Okay.
And Friday night with Rob Brinkman and Doug Minkiewicz, former Minnesota Twin. We talk about everything there. And I'm not on Twitter, but I'm on Facebook. Brad Ryers, the name.
You got 2 accounts.
Yeah. If you want to friend me, and I'll be friends with just about anybody who wants to talk sports.
So you are on A2D Radio, which is the station I used to be on prior to you getting on there.
Right.
And you're on 2 shows, and Hockey Happy Hour, and
now it's Flyer Talk.
Flyer Talk.
Right.
And is it still the Sports Hounds?
They changed it to the Final Whistle.
The Final Whistle.
Right. And it's on Friday nights at 7:30.
Friday night, 7:30. And the other show is on what day, what time?
Tuesday night at 9 o'clock.
Tuesday night at 9 o'clock. So you get the privilege of seeing Brad on 2 shows.
Indeed.
Twice a week. And he's willing to be your friend on Facebook. That sounds like a pretty good deal to me. What do you think?
Guys, have anything you want to argue about? I'll be there. I'll be there to stand up for my New York teams, and hopefully things will. The Rangers just, by the way, got very lucky. Florida scored, and Lomberg was in the crease and interfered. So
no goal.
Yes, no still 1-0.
Still 1-0.
All right. Well, I'm gonna run upstairs and I'm gonna catch the end of this game.
Yes, sir.
Hopefully the Rangers win. So we'll make a deal right now. If the Rangers win the Stanley Cup, you'll be on our show again for a 3rd time.
Sounds good.
Yes.
Sure. Why not?
Yes, my man. We'll get you on eventually. Just gotta, find the situation. But
hey, I don't want to
good one.
I don't want to intrude either. So.
Oh no, you're good.
Never.
Anytime.
You just say you want to come on.
Yes, sir.
Good with Gil and Larry podcast.
Yes,
if you got something to get off your chest,
we'll
have you on. No diggity, no doubt.
No doubt.
All righty.
Open invitation, brother.
Sounds good.
So for Brad Ryers, Larry Loper, I'm Gil and Larry. That's the end of our show. You can catch us next Wednesday, 9 p.m. YouTube. What's Good with Gil and Larry podcast. And have a great weekend. Go Rangers. Deuces, y'all.
Deuces. Good show, fellas.
Great show. And we out.